What happened when a doctor dismissed my worsening illness? It started with a cough. Nothing serious at first, just a dry tickle that refused to go away. I told myself it was the weather, or maybe stress from school. But within weeks, the cough grew worse. It kept me awake at night, left my chest aching in the mornings. My mom insisted we see a doctor. The clinic was crowded, patients packed into every seat. After a long wait, the doctor glanced at me for barely 5 minutes before scribbling on his pad. Seasonal allergies. Take these antihistamines. He didn't ask questions, didn't listen when I said the cough felt deep, heavy. My mom pressed him, but he waved her off. No need to worry. Kids get this all the time. We went home, hopeful, but the pills did nothing. If anything, I grew worse. I coughed so hard my ribs felt bruised. I missed classes, meals, whole days blurred together. When we went back, the doctor sighed like we were wasting his time. It's probably anxiety, he muttered, upping the dose of allergy medicine. The word anxiety clung to me like shame, as if my body's pain was just in my head. Weeks turned into months. At school, teachers scolded me for missing assignments. Friends stopped inviting me out. I felt trapped in a body that refused to heal while everyone assumed I was exaggerating. In gym class, when I doubled over coughing, one kid shouted, "She's faking to skip running." Laughter followed. I smiled weakly, but inside I was breaking. At night, I lay awake listening to my own wheezing, terrified of what my lungs were trying to tell me. Finally, one evening, my cough turned violent. I collapsed in the kitchen, gasping for air, vision blurring. My mom called an ambulance. The paramedics rushed in, their radios crackling. They lifted me onto a stretcher, strapping an oxygen mask over my face. One paramedic whispered to the other, "This isn't allergies." The words made my mom cry, but they also gave me relief someone finally believed me. The ride to the hospital was a blur of sirens and flashing lights. I remember gripping my mom's hand, both of us terrified of what they might find. In that moment, all I wanted was an answer, even if it was scary, just something real. At the hospital, tests were rushed. X-rays, scans, blood work. A new doctor came in, his tone urgent but calm. "You have pneumonia, severe. It's been building for months. We need to start treatment immediately." Pneumonia. The word echoed in my skull. All those visits, all those pills, all that dismissal, and all along, an infection had been filling my lungs. My mom broke down sobbing. I felt both relieved and furious. Finally, an answer, but one that could have come sooner, one that could have spared so much suffering. I spent 2 weeks in the hospital. IV drips, antibiotics, oxygen tubes. Slowly, the coughing eased. My strength began to return, but the anger remained. One nurse, kind-eyed, whispered to me when she thought no one was listening, "You should file a complaint. You told them, and they ignored you. That's not okay." When I was finally discharged, thin and exhausted but alive, my mom did just that. She filed formal complaints with the clinic. The process dragged on, full of excuses. The doctor followed protocol. It's common to misdiagnose early symptoms, but we knew better. We had proof in the form of my charts, my hospital records, my near collapse. The complaint never brought an apology, but it sparked change. Months later, we learned the clinic had introduced mandatory second reviews for recurring pediatric cases. No child could be written off after one rushed visit. It wasn't justice, not really, but it was something. Even now, years later, I sometimes wake at night panicked, hand pressed to my chest, listening for the phantom sound of that old wheeze, but I remind myself I survived. I spoke up, even when no one believed me. I carried the weight of being doubted, and I made it through. And because of that, maybe the next kid won't have to suffer as long as I did. What started as a simple cough became the hardest lesson of my life, that being dismissed can be just as dangerous as the illness itself. And I'll never forget the day I learned that a wrong diagnosis nearly cost me everything.